Hello, I'm Andrea from the Creative Dream Incubator. This is Creative Dream TV. This is where we pretend that you dropped in on me in the dream loft or having a cup of tea and we're talking about what's going on the path to our dreams. So this week what I would talk to you about is decision making, the process of making decisions. I'm thinking about that a lot because it's the place where people get stuck a lot, and it's something that I've been faced with. So last week we had a live streaming video play date in the Creative Dream Circle, and I had huge technical problems. And it was really frustrating because I've been working to fix those problems, and it's like the more I did to fix the problem, the worse the problem got. And I had really helpful tech support working with me, and yet everything we did just kind of made it worse. So it's a really frustrating place to be, and it just reminds me of a lot of places on the creative dream path where sometimes the harder you try to make something work, the less it works. And often, this means you have decisions to make, and it can feel like, oh my God, there's like a million choices for what I could do, and I need to pick the right one. I need to pick the best one. I need to do all this research and figure out what is the best choice, right? And sometimes we feel like our dreams depend on making the right choice, and that's never true. There's always another opportunity. There's always another choice. There'll always be more more steps along your path. So no dream ever depends on this one right step being right, and yet sometimes I know I place that much importance on it, and I see a lot of other people doing it too, and that's essentially perfectionism coming in and trying to kind of shit all over your dream parade, because perfectionism doesn't actually lead you to having your dream and to happiness and to feeling really, like in alignment with who you really are. Perfectionism is always about external approval and all of this kind of bullshit inner critic stuff. So it's good to be on the lookout for when perfectionism is kind of throwing you off track, because it's different from wanting to do your best. Of course, we all want to do our best, especially when your dream involves working with other people. You want to do your best for them as well, just like I want my circle members to have the best possible experience. And I want to do my part in making sure that happens, but I also have to accept that sometimes things just don't work. Right, so it's kind of a hard thing sometimes. But the place with when we're making decisions, what I find happens, it's almost like because you're in a place of fogginess, because when you don't know what decision to make, things feel foggy because there's so many options and no one seems clearer than the others. It's kind of like you're operating from within your blind spots, and that just somehow invites your inner critics and fears and doubts and limiting beliefs to hop into the driver's seat. And it can be hard to even notice that that's happened because you're not in a place of clarity. Right? So a little while ago, I'm not sure if it was last week or the week before, I was talking to you about when new things are happening and how you're in that process where you're out of your comfort zone because you're doing something new and everything just feels kind of overwhelming. So it's that kind of thing too, just when you're in a place where you're not sure, right? And I mean, basically the only time that you're ever really clear and sure is when you're doing something you've already done. So when you're bringing a dream to life, you need to do new things. You need to make different kinds of choices. You need to try different things in order to get somewhere new. And that's where all of this uncertainty and discomfort comes from. So we want to try to find ways to be more comfortable staying with the discomfort. So when I had these tech problems, I started doing research, and it just reminded me of how often we look outside for the answer. So you have to look outside for research in some ways. Like I was looking at different ways to do the video cast, or do I need different equipment, or what is it that isn't quite working, and how do I make sure that it gets working again. And so there's all this information outside of you, but the real answer and the real path and the real the next step. You always know it by how it feels inside. So it's an interesting dynamic, I find, because you need to start doing a whole bunch of research, find out what other people are doing, look at what the experts are saying about what to do, and then gather up all of that information and sit with it, kind of run it through the filters of your heart and your soul and your intuition, your inner power, your inner wisdom, your inner creativity, and find the one that feels really true and right for you. So if you are a Creative Dream Circle member, there's a whole process for that called the Crazy Smart Wisdom Council. So that's where you go to get accurate information for your dream, because it's about pulling it out of your own inner world, and it's about being really, really, really grounded in your inner truth. So there are processes there. That's in the Creative Genius Mojo Dojo that will guide you through that. Because it's really about the more stuff you're looking at outside of you and sorting through and making your decision, the more grounded you need to be inside of you. Because the answer is always on the inside, even when it's something that you know nothing about. Like, I honestly didn't know what's the best way to do these video things. One way always feels noticeably better. So when you do that inner work of looking at it, it becomes clear which is the right choice for you and your dream for now. You only ever know the choice like kind of right now. Like, I don't know 5 years from now what I'm going to want to be doing with that, right? But you know what feels right. It feels like the right move for you right now. So then the next place where people get tripped up with this is, I hear my inner wisdom. I know what feels right, but it's fucking scary, so I don't want to do it. So it feels safer to go with what the experts are telling me to do rather than do what feels right for me. And that is never going to work, right? It's all, just think about the energy of that. You're building your own castle using someone else's blueprints. It'll never really be yours if you're not making the choices that really feel right for you. Okay, so it's really good to learn about what the experts say and to look at what other people are doing and to have as much information as you feel you need to have. But you've got to just act on what feels right for you so that it's your unique thing that you're building and growing. And that way your dream really fits for you, and it's a really good fit for your creative genius, which allows your creative genius to be fully expressed. And that's what kind of gives your dream life, and it makes it radiant and magnetic, and it draws to it the right people and opportunities and whatever it is that your dream needs. It all comes to it through that energetic alignment with your own creative genius, with your own inner world. So that's why it's really, really important to always be listening to what your inner voice is saying, and only acting on that and not acting on what the experts tell you to do. So that's where I'm at. My choice in the end, total surprise for me, not what I thought I was going to be doing, but I bought a new computer. And the problems were related to my internal mic not working on the old computer, even though the Spreecast people were sure that we could have it work with the external mics. What my intuition said is, there's a simpler way. Get the new laptop and it'll work better, not only for that, but it will serve other parts of your business as well. And already I'm seeing that, how much simpler some other things are now that I have this newer technology. So the answer can be really surprising, like what feels right. And so when that felt like the right thing for me to do, even though so I went into this process sure that I had to find something other than Spreecast, and the answer was no, you need a different computer and to keep using Spreecast. It's like, okay, you got to be willing to be surprised by the answer and then act on that, even though that answer is like, oh, I was like, well, should I really be spending that money right now? And my inner voice said, Yes, you should. This is the right move for you. This supports you. This supports your dream. It's important to give your dream what it needs. And when when you get a clear intuitive message about what your dream needs and then you don't give it that because you're scared, that's just putting fear back into the driver's seat. And that is, what's that word I'm thinking of? Chipping away at the foundation of your dream every time you act out of fear instead of acting in alignment with your intuitive knowing. There's always a way to move forward with what your intuition is telling you. Often it just takes more inner work than we think we need. So more time in meditation, more time journaling, and more time using the kind of energy processes that help you become more directly aligned so that you can hear your inner voice more clearly, and it just makes it easier to act on it.